see you all. Today, we continue a time-honored RL tradition of recognizing and celebrating the particular faith lives of members of our community. In recent years, as many of you know, we have been lucky to hear and haul from adults and students about their perspectives on the Jewish traditions of Yom Kippur and Passover, the Christian celebrations of Christmas and Easter, the Muslim observance of Ramadan. And later this month, Nayan Patel of Class 3 will illuminate for us the Hindu festival of light, Diwali. We are grateful to those among us who share their personal experiences, traditions, and stories. We are all the better for it. As a school, we encourage the pursuit of truth, and we advocate exposure to a broad and deep wellspring of knowledge and understanding. Knowledge of the world's great religions falls within that immense and worthy range. We are, too, a school that gathers all kinds of boys, and we are committed to understanding and celebrating our singular differences, including differences of faith, that contribute to our whole. Knowing about various religions and affirming the faith lives of one another, then, are both worthy pursuits. And it is in hearing about and from the witnesses to these different faiths that our own journey toward meaning and fulfillment can be most hopefully informed. If the abiding questions we pose to ourselves as teachers and learners and members of the RL community are such questions as, why am I here? What is the meaning of my life? And what kind of life shall I lead? Then our hall today, one that expounds upon the traditions of the Jewish high holy days, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, should be fruitful. This morning, we are fortunate to have our own Jordan Bornstein of Class 1 to share with us his experience of these Jewish holidays, their symbolism and their meaning, and of his own Jewish faith, one of the oldest monotheistic religious traditions in the world. Please help me welcome Jordan to the lecture.
Good morning. Before we begin today, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to everyone who has made this moment possible. First, I'd like to thank Ms. Salas and Mrs. Berg for offering me this opportunity and for their guidance as I prepared for Hall today. Second, I want to thank Dr. Schaefer and the rest of the admin team for carving out time from our busy schedule for an important topic. And lastly, I'd like to thank my parents, my grandmother, and Rabbi Robinson for their continued support in my preparation and throughout the writing process. At the conclusion of last school year, Mrs. Berg and Ms. Salas approached me and offered me the chance to speak in front of you all today. Right away, I knew I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity and speak to the RL community on a topic I'm passionate about. Today, I want to offer up some insight into the Jewish high holiday season, the experience of a Jewish student at Roxbury Latin, and hopefully finish by answering any remaining questions. The high holiday season begins in the Hebrew month of Elul, when the shofar, a ram horn trumpet used in ancient Jewish religious ceremonies, is sounded every weekday in advance of Rosh Hashanah. This call serves as a reminder to return to God in advance of the sacred days that lie ahead. The Hebrew translation of Rosh Hashanah is directly correlated to the significance of the holiday. Rosh, meaning head, and Hashanah, meaning of the year. This holiday marks the start of the Jewish New Year and also the beginning of the holy period, a time for introspection, prayer, and celebration. In my experience, Rosh Hashanah is a very family-centric holiday. As a little kid, I would often travel to New York to spend the holiday with my grandmother. When I was younger, this holiday represented a 2-day break from school, time with family, and the tradition of eating apples and honey. This Rosh Hashanah ritual of of dipping apples in honey is a way to symbolize our prayer for a sweet and good year ahead, with honey representing immediate sweetness, and the apple symbolizing a deeper, more lasting sweetness, as well as a connection to God and the land of Israel. However, as I have grown older, the meaning of the holiday has evolved. Since coming to RL as a 60, I experienced a major culture shock regarding my Jewish identity. As a former student of the Newton public school system, I was used to Rosh Hashanah being a day off from school. Because there was such a strong Jewish population in Newton, it made sense for there to be no school during the high holidays. However, at Rosh Hashanah, Jewish students make up such a small percentage of our student body that it does not make sense to cancel school. Because of this, for the past 6 years, I've had to miss a substantial amount of school in order to uphold this part of my Jewish identity. While I have never felt unwelcome as a member of our community, I always miss school, and it can be hard to play catch-up. On a more positive note, another Rosh Hashanah tradition that captures the spirit of reflection is Tashlich. During Tashlich, Jewish communities gather near rivers, ponds, or oceans to symbolically cast away their sins by tossing small pieces of bread into bodies of water. As the current carries the crumbs away, we are reminded that we too can help release the mistakes of the past year. For me, this ritual is both humbling and helpful. It acknowledges the ways in which I have fallen short and allows me to embrace the chance to start fresh. Just as the water continues to flow forward, Tashlich inspires us to move ahead with clarity, forgiveness, and purpose. It is a moment that connects tradition with personal growth, and it reminds me that the high holidays are not only about prayer and community, while also finding the courage to become the best version of myself in the year ahead. Time away from school allows me to turn inward and ask myself, how can I be a better friend, a better son, a better student, or even a better teammate? Am I happy with the way my year went? Or do I need to make some changes and get my head in the game? If I'm not meeting the mark, what do I need to let go of? And what are the building blocks I need to put in place so that I can work on becoming the person I want to be in the new year? After sundown, on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, the days of awe begin. This 10-day period starts with Rosh Hashanah and concludes with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. This solemn time is dedicated to repentance, self-reflection, prayer, and fasting as individuals and the community seek forgiveness from God and others for their sins. Rosh Hashanah Yikatevu. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, Uv Yom Tzom Kippur Yichatenu. On Yom Kippur it is sealed. Yom Kippur is the last day of the 10 days of awe, when the fate of the upcoming year is sealed. The Jewish belief is that God's judgment on the fate of each person for the upcoming year is finalized on this Day of Atonement, 10 days after being inscribed in the Book of Life on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah. When I was younger, I would attend the little kid service on Yom Kippur instead of the traditional service in the main sanctuary. I looked forward to this service every year because there was a story that I loved, which we used to read on the holiday. The Hardest Word by Jacqueline Jules follows the Ziz, a giant bird from Jewish folklore, who is tasked by God to find the hardest word. The Ziz comes to God with many different words, but each time he brings a long and complicated word, and each time God tells him that he is not correct. Feeling discouraged by his apparent failure, the Ziz finally apologizes to God for failing the test. At that moment, God reveals that the hardest word is sorrow. This story connects to Yom Kippur, teaching that while apologizing is difficult, it is also the most meaningful way to seek forgiveness, heal relationships, and begin the new year with a renewed sense of hope. As I reflect on the story of the hardest word, I am reminded that saying sorry and truly meaning it is one of the hardest but most important things that we can do. Whether it's for talking badly about a classmate, letting a teammate down, or even the small, careless words that can hurt more than we realize, taking accountability matters. We, too, can build each other up by owning our mistakes, repairing what we can, and striving each day to be better members of this community. So, just as Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur challenge us to reflect and renew, I challenge you all to consider in the new year, what are you doing to contribute to our community? Thank you, and Gemar Chatima Tova. I think we have some time for a couple of questions if anyone has anything to ask. Yeah.
Thank you for your speech, Jordan. I was wondering, besides missing school, like, what are some other kind of culture shocks you have coming here from the public school?
So the question was, like, what are some other culture shocks that I experienced coming to RL from a super strong Jewish population? I guess the main one would be, I mean, in my grade, it's only 2 of us that are Jewish. And, there was always kind of like an understanding that there was like, everyone knew sort of the holiday or the premise of the holiday and what was going on. But I feel like I've answered, and this isn't a bad thing, I actually appreciate it. I've answered a lot more questions about like the Jewish faith and what are the holidays about since I've come to RL. So I mean, nothing super negative. It's just been like, I guess like the difference in what people know about the holidays and about my faith traditions.
What would you say has been like your favorite memory overall from these days of
So the question was, what are other favorite memories I have from the holidays? On Yom Kippur, you actually fast for 25 hours. You fast from sunset to sunset the next day. So I guess to an outsider, it wouldn't seem like all that fun because you don't get to eat for a whole day. But I actually kind of enjoy this because, I mean, for me, there's sort of a light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of Yom Kippur, you have what's called a break fast, and it's essentially just you eat a ton of food to compensate for what you haven't eaten for the entirety of the holiday. And I mean, I guess it seems kind of simple, but I really enjoy like eating and being there together. My whole family does it together, so me, my parents, my grandma, my cousins. It's just like it's super nice to be in that space all together and finally get to eat. Oh yeah, up in the balcony. Great question. So the question was, when did I start fasting? Technically, in the Jewish faith tradition, you don't have to fast until you become a bar or bat mitzvah. So for girls, that would be age 12, but for guys, that'd be 13. But I guess when I was younger, it became sort of a game, like, can I fast this year and make it a little bit longer than I did last year? So sort of self-imposed, I started fasting, I'd probably say about like age 9 or so. Another in the balcony? My favorite tradition, was that the question? Another tradition that I really enjoy on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, is all year. I don't know if you guys have seen what challah looks like. It's sort of that like grated loaf of bread. On Rosh Hashanah, you get to eat a circular challah because it's supposed to symbolize like the cycle of the year, and you're finally at the end of the year again. So it's circular, and it always has raisins in it. And I don't know what it is about it, but I really enjoy the reason. Very food centered.
Can you explain what a shofar is and demonstrate how to play it?
I was afraid someone would ask. So this is a shofar. They come in all different shapes and sizes. It's a ram's horn. This is actually one of the more difficult ones to play, but I'm happy to give it a try if you guys want. Also prepare to be disappointed because I learned how to do this last night at 10:30. When you actually blow the shofar, there are different calls that of sounds that you'll make. So tekiah is like the most common one. It's sort of like that short burst. And then there are others that will be like quick bursts in succession. And the last one, it's called tekiah gadolah. And that one's supposed to be like, you blow the shofar for as long as you possibly can, and you hold it, and that's sort of like the final call. So I don't know how great with tekiah gadolah. It's always fun to see how long people blow the shofar at temple.
Thank you for your speech, Jordan. You mentioned a little bit about your family. Can you talk a little bit about their role during this time and sort of what it means to be so close?
During the high holidays?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I said family-centric. I guess when I was younger, when I would go to New York, I wouldn't really know anyone else because I'd be in my grandma's community. So I have a sister who's 2 years older than me, and we would always go to the teen service there together because we weren't quite ready to sit through the entire service. So I guess just like being there together and sort of embracing what it is, because I mean your family's who you spend the most time with. So obviously like you have to apologize and atone for all the little things, like if you fight with your sibling or if you say something snarky to your mom or things of that nature. Then it's super important to build those relationships so you can come into living with anyone.
Jordan, thank you for those incredibly thoughtful words. What a wonderful way to start our day, all of us here together as a community to hear about the experiences and reflections of one of our own on what the meaning of the New Year's as well as what it means to be human. So thank you very much. After we dismiss members of the Service Corps, would you please stay in the hall for a meeting there? In honor of Jordan's talk, in honor of Rosh Hashanah, I would like to wish all of you Shana Tovah, which means good year, have a good year. And then in honor of Yom Kippur, I would like to offer some of my favorite words of meditation to close this out. So please bow your heads. To those we have wronged, we ask forgiveness. To those we may have helped, we wish we had done more. To those we neglected to help, we ask for your understanding. And to those who helped us, we thank you with all our heart. Amen. Class 1.